Are y'all hot? Should we turn on the fans? I heard some no's, I heard some yeses. No guarantees. That might be the best we get. We'll see what happens once they accelerate, because it is warm in here. Good morning. My name is Adam Briskin Limehouse. My pronouns are he and him, and I am the officiant today. WES is one community unified across time and space, gathering for these Sunday platforms to affirm our values and commit to a better world. So I want to welcome those of you who are here in the hall, those who are watching now on Zoom, and those who catch the recording later. If you are on Zoom, please check the chat for a welcome and various tips from Paul Baker, today's Zoom chat usher. If you're here in the hall and would like an assistive listening device, please ask the sound team at the back. A special welcome to our visitors today. We'd love to get to know you and answer any questions you may have. Please fill out the connection form at tiny.cc/wesconnects or send an email to wes@ethicalsociety.org. And if you're here in person, we invite you to stay during coffee hour after the platform and tell us what brought you to WES. Folks can also share joys, concerns, or sorrows that they would like to let KC and the pastoral care team and or the community know about. Fill out the blue WES Cares form that you can find on the welcome table, fold it and either place it in the collection basket or hand it to the greeters who will pass it directly to KC. There's also a digital form at tiny.cc/WES Cares. WES Care, no S. I'll now check the Zoom chat to see who's attending remotely this morning. We have good mornings from Laura Deschulo and Kalmia, Trixie, Cynthia Goodman, Laura Steele. That's it for now. Opening words this morning are from Andy Warhol. Don't think about making art. Just get it done. Let everyone else decide if it's good or bad, whether they love it or hate it. While they are deciding, make even more art. Today's opening song is Solar Carol, sung for us by the DC Labor Chorus.
Celebrate each day's new birth. So
That's a heck of a tune. I feel like I've heard it before. Each week, we read our statement of purpose as a reminder of shared values. If you are interested in taking a turn to read the statement of purpose, you can sign up at tiny.cc/read SOP. You can read it here in person or make a recording that will be included in a future platform. Today's reader is Joe London.
It's tall. The Washington Ethical Society is a humanistic congregation that affirms the worth of every person. We strive through our relationships to elicit the best in the human spirit. With faith in human goodness, we appreciate each person's unique capacities. We joyfully celebrate together and support each other through life. We nurture a sense of responsibility and reverence for each other and the earth. We warmly invite you to join our community of children and adults as we work for a world where love and justice cross all borders.
Thank you so much, Joe. As Joe lights our community candle, I invite everyone to join in our candle lighting words. May we kindle within us the warmth of compassion, the light of understanding, and the fire of commitment to build a brighter future for all. We'll now hear from a member of our stewardship team. It's Carl. There.
So I would just like to say that the most important part of WES to me is that this community has created a place where I and other youth can feel welcome and where our ideas are taken seriously. Especially recently, when me and another teen were invited to join Strategy Saturday to decide what WES's goals for this year will be. As we enter this upcoming pledge season, I would like to invite you to think about what the most important part of WES to you is. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Let us now enter into the centering time of our platform. Each week, we ring this chime in solidarity with people around the world. Today, I am particularly mindful of the children of Gaza. As we listen to the chime, let us remember our connection to each other and the world around us. Let us open our hearts to compassion for those who suffer. And let us commit ourselves to the work that calls for our love. As we continue with the centering time of our platform, I invite you to take a nourishing breath, to cherish that breath within you, and to release your breath. Breathe in, receiving the beauty and the power of this moment of potential. Breathe out, sharing intentions for loving kindness. Breathe in, remembering your connection with all life. Breathe out, remembering that you are the inheritor of 13 billion years of chance and change. Breathe in, being present with this very moment. Breathe out, remembering that you are a child of stars. We continue our meditation in silence and in the music that follows. Today's reading is Mary Oliver's In Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. Our platform speaker today is our senior leader, Casey Slack.
Thank you, Adam. Good morning, folks. Give me a second to get myself set up here. Have you ever read a book or watched a TV series or a movie, and when it was over, found yourself missing the characters? Yeah. Wishing that it had gone on and on and on, that you could go back and experience that for the first time again. Have you ever had a favorite book or movie or TV series get a sequel it shouldn't have? Yeah, you go back and everything is wrong now. We are stretching this out into seasons that don't need to be happening, into books that don't need to be happening, or we have, I don't know, gone back to a classic book and turned it into 3 movies when it didn't need to be that many movies. So one of our themes this month is Chrysalis, which is a word we picked in place of the word transformation. We picked it in place of the word transformation because we want to talk about that period where you're kind of in the goo, right? For a little bit further reference, butterflies, right, began as caterpillars, and they caterpillar their way around, eating things. And then one day, we're going to give this caterpillar a little bit more conscious thought than a caterpillar probably has. Let's be in the fictional here for a second. One day, that caterpillar is like, whoa, my body needs me to build a cocoon. And they build a cocoon and then they liquefy themselves. This would be horrifying if you had a consciousness. Can you imagine? One day you wake up and you're like, oh, I got to put myself in a bundle of blankets, and oh, now I am a goo. And it's not like just a little bit of the butterfly or the caterpillar that dissolves on the way to the butterfly. The whole thing dissolves, and it is just a little sack of goo for a while. And I imagine that if you had consciousness while that was happening, it would just be terrifying. It might be a little bit like being a teenager, but like worse. Because there's nobody around to be like, it is okay. People survive this all the time. But the goo is a really generative, creative space for the butterfly because it goes from being whatever little caterpillar it was into a brand new creature. It comes out of the cocoon and it has a new body, and it kind of shakes itself a little bit, gets dry, and discovers that it has wings. And its wings are, it probably doesn't know this, but pretty. And even if it's a moth, actually, and the wings are a little less pretty, it has wings now, and it can fly. It couldn't do that before. The world is actually so much bigger for the caterpillar once it becomes a butterfly, because it can flap its wings and move off into the distance. Some butterflies travel further, well, further than a lot of people ever travel in their life, and with much less carbon emissions. Monarch butterflies make a flight from way up in the Americas to way down south in the Americas. If they had to take a plane every time they wanted to do that, we'd be in worse shape than we already are. So I want to think about the goo. And I want to think about the goo in part because we are actually all fundamentally in the goo right now. And we're going to get back to my thoughts on the goo in a couple of weeks. That's actually the title of the platform on the 17th, In the Goo. So if you're interested in goo, return, but maybe don't tell us all about it. So today I'm going to try to thread what is actually a very complicated line, because I'm going to ask you to think about letting go of the past while knowing that that is literally impossible, and actually in many cases not that good of an idea. So let's get into this little wiggly line. N.K. Jemisin writes a story called The Cuisine de Memoire, which is a sci-fi story about a restaurant. A restaurant where you can go and you can eat a meal from any point in history. Or any point in your personal history, as long as you can name the exact date that you ate that meal on. People go there, spend lots and lots of money to be able to experience things that used to happen. And the main character of this particular story goes back to a dinner he had with a woman who he failed to have a relationship with. He's stuck. He realizes he's stuck. His dining companion tells him that she is worried that he will start to come back to this restaurant and eat that meal over and over again, because nostalgia and our memory of things is often pretty addictive, right? The past is easy because you were already there, right? It is easy as an adult to be like, being a teenager is hard but fine, because you already survived it. It is harder from the inside. The past is easy because whatever conflicts you have are resolved, or at least back there. The past is easy because you survived it already, and it is addictive, tantalizing, easy to get stuck on because you knew how to do it. I rapidly approach a birthday. I think every time I'm about to approach a birthday that I have just figured out how to be the age that I am. By about March, I'm like, all right, I know how to be 35. Damn it, I gotta be 36. This is worse sometimes than others, right? 20 to 21 is a bigger one than 35 to 36, right? 39 to 40, which Caitlin will do this year, bigger. 59 to 60, 69 to 70, those are bigger feeling jumps because you already figured out how to be a person in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s if you're lucky. And now you have to do something new. Awful, the worst. Except for, well, the alternative, which is not getting to do that. And you don't turn 40 or 30 or 21 or anything without those other ages still being there. You have to do the new thing, right? When you turn 21, you gotta go to the DMV, not the region, the place. And you gotta get your ID switched from vertical to horizontal so that the world knows that you have made an important change. At some point in most of America, when you're around 16, or eventually, you have to get a driver's license. Probably. People who live in big cities, New York in particular, get to avoid that. The rest of us, stuck driving, at least sometimes. But your, if you have been 21 already, self, is still inside you somewhere. Perhaps activated by the presence of Fireball whiskey. Your 16-year-old self, if you have one already, is somewhere in there, excited about the future, looking forward to the kind of freedom that comes with blossoming adulthood. Your 12-year-old self who is not ready for what is about to happen in their life is in there. And your 5-year-old self and your 3-year-old self who are full of explorative energy are in there too. You are not yourself from before, but you are not without yourself from before. Complicated, layered. I trust you with it. So here's the thing. Sometimes we hold on to things from our past that are, in fact, poison. Sometimes something happened. There was a conflict in a community that we love. There was an event in our own lives. There was a relationship that ended poorly, or a job we didn't get, a school we didn't get into, a path we didn't take, or one we did that went way worse than we expected. And we can get stuck on that feeling. We can get stuck to the tune that your brain can actually become wired to seek out the bad feeling. This is really common in people who experienced abuse, especially if you experienced abuse in childhood. But it happens to all kinds of people in all kinds of situations. You feel something, usually something bad, and you get stuck there. You can't stop thinking about it. You loop around and around and around on it. Or you find yourself creating that situation over and over and over again in your life. You can't figure out how to be close with people, so you throw weird fits the second somebody is too close, because closeness is scary, because you think you have some control over what's going to happen as long as you cause the problem. Usually you do not think that with your conscious brain. Usually that is your feelings brain doing stuff on its own, but if you're paying attention, you might notice the places where you might have a habit of causing problems on purpose because you haven't been able to get out of a situation that hurt. Sometimes we do this because we don't grieve. This is not a society that is very good at grieving. And if the thing that you are grieving is not literally the death of an immediate family member, this society has no structures for helping or encouraging you to grieve at all. But there are losses that are not death at all, that are desperately in need of grieving. There are things that will happen throughout the course of your life that you will need to grieve. And you will probably not have been given time, space, resource, or support to do that. Sometimes in communities, things happen. I'm going to be real vague here. Fill in the details on your own. Sometimes in communities, things happen, and there is a break. There is a fracture. Something happens and the community splits over something. People leave and don't come back. And because of a lot of things, there's not really a grief period. Because the pressure of week to week to week in a community where you do things gets so big that it can be hard to say, hey, let's stop and process that. Sometimes everybody involved is too to possibly stop that. The thing is that if you don't grieve it, it gets stuck in you. The thing is, if there is never time and space to say, wow, that hurt, it is going to stick inside at least enough people for it to continue to be a problem long into the future. Take a second. Take a few big, deep breaths if that feels good, and do a little searching through your mind. Are you stuck on anything? Is there something in there that you didn't get time to grieve? I don't need you to tell me about it right now, or to tell anybody else about it right now. For the moment, whatever you just thought of is all yours. Spend some time with it. Take a look. I encourage you to take some time, maybe to journal about whatever you thought about, or write it down on a piece of paper and burn the piece of paper, depending on where you are in your grieving process. Because here's the thing. When we're stuck on something, when we haven't grieved it or we've made it part of our nervous system's patterns, it gets really hard to move on to the next chapter in the book, right? Especially when we're doing it as a group. If something happened in chapter 4, and we are now in chapter 8, and you are still in chapter 4, and we'd like to go to chapter 9, and we'd like to go together, we are stuck, leaving the narrative wishy-washy at best. You gotta take the time to grieve the things, and friends, ooh, there is too much to grieve. Most days, actually, I feel like I cannot hold the level of grief that the world offers to me. That might be familiar to you if you read the news ever or exist. If you happen to be here from, I don't know, some future or past time, if you are a time traveler, maybe you do not have these problems. Although Doctor Who suggests to me that you would still have grief problems, even if you were outside of the timeline. That's the cutest thing. Let's just let that be the future speaking to us through the only way this future can speak to us, children. The child says, I love you. The future says, I love you. Will you come be in the future with me? I'm really very excited about the future of this community, about the places that we're going together, about the new faces that show up. Almost every Sunday there is someone I have never seen before here. And I've been around long enough that I've seen a lot of you. Though I did recently have a stress dream in which there was secretly a second WES congregation who nobody had told me about. And they were not happy. Barring that, I'm really excited because there is such creative possibility here. There are so many people bringing so many different perspectives. Not the full spectrum of perspectives that exist in the world, but that's okay. We've got people of a variety of ages, active members who are everything from actually the silent generation to Gen Z, and very nearly Gen Alpha, right? We have a wide range of experiences. People who were hurt by religions that they left, and people who came up in ethical culture, and people who came up nothing in particular and found their way here anyway. The shared commitment is how we get to the future, but there are pieces of the past that we're gonna have to let go. There are ways in which maybe you have been hurt here. And I'm not saying that those things aren't true or that they weren't bad. I'm not saying you have to stop knowing about them, because you can't. Right? What happened to you, and the past is true regardless of if it's still here. And we need to learn from the things that happened in the past. Here, in the country, in the world, we have to pay attention to what was true, but we cannot live there. We cannot afford, and I mean that in like literal and not literal ways, to live in the past. We have to decide to live together in the future, because there is no getting there without choosing it. And there is no getting there without letting go of the things that are forcing us to stay stuck in old patterns. I think the rest of this book, the next chapter that we are writing together, is going to be really cool. I think it's going to be vibrant and interesting. I think it's going to do some stuff that matters. I think we're going to keep making friends with other organizations and working together, building solidarity and mutuality. I think our goo time is for deciding that, a caterpillar and the butterfly we were before that, because this thing goes in circles and circles and circles. It is not just one caterpillar and one butterfly. It is a caterpillar that turns into a butterfly, that turns into a caterpillar, that turns into a butterfly, and on and on and on. But we've been a caterpillar for a minute. We can call pandemic time literally any organization some caterpillar years, right? You don't know what's going on. You might get eaten by a bird. Where is a leaf? Caterpillar time is over. Goo time is upon us, but those butterfly days, they're coming. I need you to choose to come into the butterfly days with us. I need you to choose, I'm going to switch metaphors here. I need you to choose to take all of the things that have been, the bad and the good, sort through them and turn them into compost. Okay? Let it digest, let it break down, let it become something that nourishes the garden that we're growing. We need history, we need to know that stuff. But if you don't, gosh, I'm forgetting the words. What's the word for when you mix the dirt up in the ground? Till, thank you. If you don't till the soil, you can't grow anything new. And if you keep trying to grow the exact same thing, then we'll have a dust bowl. So what if we didn't? What if we till the soil? What if we say, those things were good and bad and happened, but they're not what we're doing right now? What if we say that in our own lives and in community? And what if from there we learn how to say that in the broader world? If we say, you know what, these past, let me pick a number, 8 years have been incredibly difficult. I would put it further. I think the past 10 plus years have been incredibly difficult. It's been hard, and it's not gonna not be hard, but what if we take everything we've learned, till it up, we compost it, we digest it, we plant something new, so we can try again. Because the cool thing about being a garden or a perpetually refreshing butterfly, as I've decided we are, the cool thing about being maybe the kind of jellyfish that grows all the way to full jellyfishness and then back down again and up and down forever, is that you always get to try again. The cool thing about being a person, which you are, actually, is that you always get to try again. Every day is an opportunity to do something a little bit different than you did yesterday. Every Sunday, an opportunity to reset yourself for the week and aim at whatever life will bring you this week with something different in your mind and in your heart. Every month, an opportunity to say rabbit, rabbit, and get going. Every year, another chance to do something different. It's a new month, it's a new week, it's a new day. Let's take a trip into the future together. Let's let the past be the past, not something we never think about, not something unimportant, but something that isn't happening right now. Information rather than activation. I believe in you and I believe in the future. I believe in our collaboration amongst ourselves and in the broader community. I believe in the possibility of a community centered on love and care for one another and the world around us. I believe that we elicit the best from one another when we choose to live today and tomorrow, moving forward, instead of stuck on where we used to be. So this is an invitation. If you had something that came to mind when I asked you to think about something you're stuck on and you want to talk about it, it's an invitation to email me and set up some time to talk. If you have dreams about what this community could become, it's an invitation to talk to those of us in leadership and also volunteer yourself for leadership where it makes sense. If you're new, it's an invitation to get involved. We're going places. If you've been here for a long time, it's an invitation to bring your wisdom. If you've been here for a long time and you haven't been back in a while, it's an invitation to come back. It's an invitation to be together, to work and try and grow and change and turn the page together. Thank you.
Electronics. I've lost my place in the script. Okay, that's the right place in the script. Thank you, Casey. That was lovely. In a few moments, we will have community sharing time when you can write into the chat or share in person about what resonated with you in this platform. While we listen to today's musical response, you might prepare by reflecting on a personal experience or on an activity at WES that the platform brings to mind.
cherishing the lives that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side.
We are living in the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the lives that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
On this journey through thoughts and feelings, finding true expression mind and my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side.
We are living in the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the lives beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing we've arrived. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
We are living in the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the lives that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
This is the time when we add our voices to this morning, sharing our reflections on the platform or what resonates with our personal experience. For our online participants, I invite you to share in the Zoom chat or in the comments if you are watching the recording later. If you are here in person, you can come to the microphone here on the floor and share your brief comments so that others may also share. Let's start by checking to see what online participants have written in the Zoom comments. Got 3. Laura DeShulo says, lots of thoughts came up for me, but I'll share just one. I thought of the early days, weeks, months, years of the pandemic as cocoon or chrysalis time, being stuck inside a very tight space and feeling like goo all the time. Now we are slowly emerging and finding our wings. Laura Steele says, woo and wow. Lots of layers, lots to contemplate. I'm a silent generation, and my personal affirmation is find something I haven't done or experienced or been to and do it. Costa Rica, here I come. Cynthia Goodman says, another great platform, Casey. Thank you. It made me think of all those things from the past that still crop up and bother me that I need to let go of. Old traumas, regrets, guilt, mistakes. These things still gnaw at me inside. I'm not sure how to let them go. Now let's turn our attention to commenters in the hall. Please begin by saying your name and if you'd like to share your pronouns. And please be sure to keep your comments brief, perhaps no more than a minute or two, so that others have a chance to share.
Hello. Hey, good morning. My name is Amy. My pronouns are she, her. Casey, that was amazing. That really meant a lot to me. And I always am so moved when the DC Labor Chorus comes to perform and share their beautiful music with us. And yeah. That last song was really beautiful, and it reminded me of a quote from one of my favorite spiritual teachers, Ram Dass, who said, "We are all just walking each other home."
Good morning, Jeff Mehall. He, him, his. I was struck by the idea of looking at the past more favorably than we do in the present, possibly the future. And it's difficult to anticipate the future because you never know. Like the famous Yogi Berra quote, making predictions is hard, especially when it involves the future. It's interesting to note that the term nostalgia was originally diagnosed as a medical condition affecting Swedish soldiers in the Middle Ages as they were fighting in one of that continent's many wars. They would dream of home in the before times, and this would be exhibited by loss of appetite, difficulty sleeping, apathy, listlessness. But today it's expressed as a longing maybe for a more idealized time in the past when we don't have to worry about all of these distractions. Well, you know, two things to remember. One is that nostalgia isn't what it used to be. And two, the good old days really weren't that good. Now, I'd love to be a time traveler. I'm fascinated by history. And if I could borrow the Wayback Machine from Mr. Peabody and Sherman, I would do it in a heartbeat. Assuming that I could surmount all of the physical and multi-dimensional problems and have that solved, I'd basically go for two reasons. You people know me. I'm a train nut. I would spend all my days up there at Silver Spring, and then I want to go and travel. And then in the evenings, I'd find myself going down to U Street and listening to the great jazz artists. There's just one problem that gets into this rosy idea of the nostalgia, and that is in the 20th century, tobacco use was rampant, either in the form of cigarettes, pipes, cigars, or the vilest of habits, which is actually chewing it and spitting out the remains. And I am deathly allergic to tobacco.
Hi, I'm Nicole. My pronouns are she, her. Sometimes when I'm processing grief or experiencing something from the past over and over again, something that gets in the way of moving forward is guilt or shame, feeling like I'm being self-indulgent, like how bad could I really have it? Or, it's been weeks, months, years, decades. Why is this still coming up? This is such a problem. And something that gives me a little bit of comfort is actually a fact about caterpillars. Scientists have shown that they can teach caterpillars things before they go into the goo, and then they dissolve completely. And when they come out as butterflies, they still remember the things that they were taught pre-goo. And it just makes me feel like it's okay. Whatever you're stuck on in the past, it's normal. It makes sense. Maybe it's just part of being an animal. And it's okay to be in that for however long you need to be before you can move forward.
Hey, I'm Abby, she, her. And actually, I learned about that when I was finding images for the slides. Apparently, parts of the caterpillar don't turn into goo. Like there are a few key parts that still stay around, including parts of the central nervous system. Years ago, I participated in a deepening circle, a small discussion group that happened to be all women here at the Ethical Society. And we spent some time thinking about what to us felt like a very critical question, which is, what is the difference between eliciting the best and being a doormat? This question, of course, is relevant to potentially everyone, but I think particularly relevant to women because many of us grew up learning excellent techniques for forgiving, moving on, letting go. And I found for myself that I'm pretty good at it, but speaking of, on the edge of wisdom, I don't know what makes the difference between eliciting the best and being a doormat, but I do think one piece of it is if the people who hurt you are in the past and are not part of your life, then that internal process makes sense. But if some or all of the people who have hurt you are still in your life, maybe in your community, if that happened, then to just let it go and move on without talking to them is an element of being a doormat and prevents genuine community. And so as awful and hard and challenging and unfair as it seems, just letting it go without having that discussion, I would argue, is not ideal.
I too want to thank Casey and also wonderful singers. I'm Loretta, and I've been a member here for a gazillion years, I think. And most recently, I just finished reading a wonderful book that's kind of fits with the topic. It's called Women Rowing North by Mary Pfeiffer. And one of the major themes of it, it kind of recurs, it's about women and aging and transitions you go through. And I think this is a transition in effect what we're discussing. But just two things you have to experience in your life. And one of them is grief and sorrow and sadness. And that is what makes you empathetic, so that you can be empathetic to other people who are suffering that you may not be able to if you've never experienced it yourself. The other is, though, you also have to experience happiness and joy, because it's the happiness and the joy that you experience that gives you the energy to go forward. And I think that happiness and joy that we experience here helps us as a community to go forward.
Thank you. There are no more comments in the Zoom. I appreciate everyone who shared their thoughts and attention. Just as we share our perspective in this community, so too do we share our resources and gifts. Here at WES, we split all undesignated gifts in the Sunday collection between our operating budget and a fund dedicated to justice and compassion. During the month of March, we are pleased to support the Washington Interfaith Network's Climate Justice Campaign. WIN, founded in 1996 as a broad-based, multiracial, multi-faith, strictly nonpartisan, district-wide citizens' power organization rooted in local congregations and associations. WIN is committed to training and developing neighborhood leaders, addressing community issues, and holding elected and corporate officials accountable in Washington, D.C. WIN's 45 dues-paying members, representing 25,000 families in every section of the district, and reflect its theological, racial, geographic, and economic diversity, including WES. WIN is working towards a just green future. This includes fair wage green jobs, electrified public and affordable housing, ceasing the district's reliance on methane gas, and building a coalition of DC residents at the forefront of the change. Let's all take a moment to prepare to respond to the invitation to generosity as we are able. To donate online through the Simple Give system, text an amount to 202-335-1885. Go to tiny.cc/West Gives, or click on Give on our website, ethicalsociety.org. To donate in person today, place cash or check in the basket at the back of the hall on your way out, and you can always send a check by mail. One caveat that I'm sure Robin will want me to note is that we are not using Simple Give anymore. We're using Breeze. To use the Breeze system, not Simple Give. I'm pretty sure the phone number is still the same and the links still work the same, just a different system. So if you get to a different place or Simple Give doesn't work anymore, that's why. Thank you for your generosity. We will now receive your gifts and the gift of music. Thank you so much to the many people who helped to create this morning's time together. Today's platform speaker, KC, and guest musicians, the DC Labor Chorus. Staff members Indara Miles, Rabin Kravitz, and Maceo Thomas, and of course our platform production volunteers, the tech team members, slide artists, Zoom chat usher, and in-person greeters. I want to mention a few things upcoming in the life of our community. Join the LLDC today at 12:30 p.m. in the West Social Hall for the next skill building workshop led by Trang and Alex. They'll explore ways to empower others as a part of our leadership team and address personal characteristics that pose difficulties in leading others, such as the urge for perfectionism. Just don't worry about it. Good enough is good enough. At 1 p.m. today, the Philosophy Book Club will be meeting online. Please find the link to their Zoom in the News and Notes newsletter. ILMA Center and the Fabragan are holding a joint interfaith event next Saturday. It will be a meatless and vegetarian, meatless and shellfish free. Wow, the word just went out of my head completely. It's literally right up there. Meatless and shellfishless potluck. That's the word. Thank you. Like I said, perfectionism just isn't good for you. And I believe it is starting at 12:30 p.m. next Saturday, right here. Next Sunday, Casey will speak on a topic near and dear to my heart, killing all the grass, titled After Lawns, with music from the WES Chorus. And finally, save the date. 2 Sundays from now, on March 17th, WES will host a pledge brunch following platform. Reach out to the Stewardship Committee if you would like to volunteer. That's it for announcements today. As always, you can find information about opportunities to connect in the weekly news and notes email and on the calendar page of WES's website, ethicalsociety.org. Again, if you are new to our community, please introduce yourself in person or via the connection form at tiny.cc/WES Connects or an email to wes@ethicalsociety.org. At the conclusion of the platform, please join us for social hour, either here or on Zoom at tiny.cc/WES Coffee Hour. I now invite you to join in our closing music and closing words.
Just want to say the reason a few of us from the WES Chorus are going to stand here and help sing this song is because our friends from the DC Labor Chorus never heard it until this morning. It's not going to stop them. It shouldn't stop you either.
Dum tigga dum dum dum, dum tigga dum dum dum, dum tigga dum dum dum, dum tigga dum dum dum.
The river is a healer, the river is a sage, the river knows no end, and the river feels no age. The river is a leader every single day. It's living in the moment and it always finds a way. Water heal my body, water heal my soul. When I go down
And now for our closing words. Let us go into the week ahead with compassion, understanding, and commitment, working for climate justice and honoring growth and change within ourselves. Thank you all for joining today's platform in person or remotely. We look forward to connecting with you again soon.